What's happening, everybody? And welcome to the latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. I'm your host, John, and I'm joined by Ross and Francis. How are you boys doing?
All good, mate. How's yourself?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Buzzing to get into this. Obviously, we're coming off the back of a fantastic result at the weekend there. Just pull up some corn. Brown's in. News for Desmond: Elon Musk made an approach to buy sweat particles generated by the fuel his new rockets.
For Foxtrot.
Pete's in. Hail, mate. Anthony. Hail, mate. Jed.
Evening, Trips.
Hi, welcome in, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. Obviously, as I said, fantastic result, boys, at the weekend there. 7-0 against St Johnstone. Quite possibly the best performance of the season so far, arguably. Just a couple of things I just want to run over in terms of stats for the game. Did it go completely dark, did it?
Completely black, aye.
Completely. Let me see if I can turn a wee light on.
Totally froze, man.
Hopefully that will stop it going pitch black. I don't know what it is. My monitors and that keep shutting off themselves. I need to look into that. But anyway, back to the game. 84% possession, 23 shots on goal, 10 of them on target, scoring 7. And St Johnstone be limited to one shot at goal, 0 on target. Absolutely dominating performance. Ross, what was your overall thoughts in the game?
It was like you say, it was an absolutely dominating performance. That goal that I think it was O'Reilly's second one. The play there was, I think there was something like 46 passes in that, and
Mental.
I mean you have to look at it like. Although it was great play for Celtic, patient, brilliant build-up and all that, you have to question St Johnstone for not getting close to anybody. They never laid a glove on Celtic. I don't know if it was because Celtic were that good, they couldn't get close enough to them, but the goal was phenomenal, and it started off in the corner with Greg Taylor and a wee bit of dancing, and then passed it off, and it just went for there. It was a fabulous goal, and the performance all round was pretty much faultless. I mean, off the back of the Rangers game, you don't want to get that sort of like you've hit that high and then you come down a wee bit and you have a bit of a jaded performance, and it was not even close to that. It was, like you say, probably the performance of the season, and we're almost saying that almost after every game now. And it's going with what Ange had said, that like he wants to be at the team at the top level at this stage of the season, putting in their best performances, and that's what they're doing right now. And again, you can't speak highly enough every player who's featured, and we just see the finish in sight now, and I think we're just going to go full throttle and wipe everybody out.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to disagree with anything you just said there, Ross, but like you mentioned, though, it seems to be after every game we're talking about how good the performance was, and that the previous game being the performance of the season, for us to only then put in a performance like that. And I just came out after it and he says we're still no hit the levels he's expecting us to hit. We're still no hit the top gear. And we've been talking about it since the start of the season. At very early doors, we had a couple of games where teams didn't know what to do with us, and we scored quite a few goals. But then they obviously started to play a lot more defensive against us and sort of put every man behind the ball, so to speak, and it made things difficult for a while. But obviously, through with each game that we play and each game that passes, you can see the team starting to learn how to sort of break that down, and they're becoming more and more confident the more they play with each other. You can see they're starting to click now. Everything just all the pieces of the puzzle just seem to be falling in place. So, but for Ange to come out and say that he's still not where we want to be, that in itself is exciting, because you're looking at that game and you're thinking that was a perfect performance. Francis, obviously, I want to we'll touch on each of the 7 goals individually and just sort of have a wee chat about them. But I just want to see what was your initial thoughts on the game, Francis?
It's similar to what you just said there, John. It's a bit like Groundhog Day. We're just saying it's the best performance of the season, but I think that it's hard to argue against that not being the best performance of the season. And like what Ross was saying, sometimes after getting such a good result previously against Rangers and stuff. And I mean, in my mind, the league's pretty much done for me. Like, so it'd be easy to sort of hit the highs of the last week, then it sort of kind of flatten out, and it could be a flat performance in a tricky game and stuff like that. And maybe even a bit of complacency could have maybe crept into the team. But I mean, you got that early goal and it just put to bed any idea of complacency, and then a 7-0 obviously puts to bed that any complacency's got to creep in. And I think Ange actually said on the Friday that anybody that is complacent will get left behind. So he's saying all the right things. The team look, like you say, they see the finish line and they look like they're desperate to get there. And there's absolutely no negatives you can find. Well, I'd say the only negative is Giakoumakis taking 2 touches to score the goal. If we're being back,
it just sort of alludes though to the, like, I mean, if that's what we're pitting it, it just sort of, it just sort of puts in perspective though just how dominant we were in that game and how one-sided it was. I mean, I think earlier on, who was it that said that it flattered them?
but it could have been in
because I mean, we could have easily hit double figures. There was numerous chances, and a lot of them were pretty close as well. And fair play, the keeper managed to save a few. So, I mean,
it's a good keeper.
Listen, the 7-0 does it. That aside, he showed last season his worth. I mean, it's weird because when you think about it, that was a second best team in Scotland at the time, or the best team in terms of trophy hauls. So I mean, it was absolutely fantastic result. And as I say, we'll get to all the games. Ryan Kelly's come in, Martin Kay's in. Ryan Kelly, welcome, boys. Just a jot of ball to my header was why we need them next year. It was a fantastic. Well, again, we'll touch on everything in just a minute. Brown's come in, Maeda chasing back to the game position, 7-0 up, 3 minutes to go. Mate, he seems to be doing this every single game. And I just want to touch on his performance overall. He won man of the match, and deservedly so. He's been absolutely outstanding. Contributed with a goal as well. And I mean, he's been a revelation this year. Ross, what was your opinion on Maeda in his performance?
He's in terms of work rate, I've never seen anything like it. Honestly, haven't I? It's incredible. It's measured, like we've said before. It's no like he runs about like a headless chicken. What I will say is, I don't think he's the best on the ball. I don't think his first touch is that great. But in terms of what we want to do as a team, he leads for the front, as Kyogo did, if not better in terms of pressing. And like the way Kyogo pressed earlier in the season is something that I've not really seen. Certainly watching Celtic anyway, and now Maeda's doing it to an even higher level, and he never looks tired. He just keeps going and going and going, and it's a joy to watch. And I said in the last podcast, excuse me, that he's at the minute he's pretty much undroppable. And I mean, I think you'll probably see him playing through the middle if Giakoumakis doesn't make it on Sunday, but I think Giakoumakis will make it. He's a freak of nature in the nicest possible way. It's just incredible what he does, and we knew he had that in his locker, but in no way did I think it was going to be to the level of what it is. I'm sure Postecoglou has said something along the lines of, like, he's pressing that side of his game is like world class. It is. There's no doubt about it. If you were talking about if the rest of his game, and there's nothing wrong with his game, by the way, but if the rest of his game was at the level he's pressing, then he would be one of the top players in the world. He's exceptional.
It's absolutely unreal. And you mentioned obviously his work rate and his energy levels and his pressing being in a whole other level. I've never seen anybody, even at the highest level, in some of the world's best teams, press like that and run for 90 minutes the way he does. And it's absolutely staggering to watch, because anybody who's played football, I mean, we're no athletes by any means, but it's
Speak for yourself,
okay. But no, but I mean, like what I'm saying is if you try running 90 minutes in a game of football is hard going for anybody, and he just doesn't seem to take a break. And so, in fact, who's it? I'm not trying to find I just read a comment there. I can't see it. But they mentioned that Maida he's done a season and a half. I mean, remember he came for a full season in Japan, and then came straight over here, and has done another half season with us. And he's not up once. He's no skipped a beat. He's been non-stop since then. And for most players, that's unthinkable. You would never expect that for them. Alex has come in. Any news on Jack and Marcus? I haven't heard anything, mate. I don't know if any of these boys have, but the only thing I've heard in terms of players and fitness potentially is Turnbull. Again, seems to have got picked up a knock. He's the only one that I've seen or read that could potentially be a doubt for the weekend.
And see, do you know what? Like, sorry, John, but I mean, if Turnbull's a doubt, right? At the start of the season, it'd be like coming into this game. If Turnbull's a doubt, you'd be like, going, "Oh my God, no, what have we got to do?" And now we've got either O'Reilly or Rogic that can play. And the greatest respect to Turnbull, he might be third choice for that position, but our third choice is like a top player. It's the three choices for that number 10 role are incredible. And that's why we're top of the league, and that's why we will win the league, because we've got the best squad and the best quality, and that's it. Deal with it.
Absolutely. No, but I mean, it's a fair point. But obviously, you don't want to see any player coming injured, because obviously we're just starting to get everybody back to fitness, and Turnbull coming back after being off quite a lengthy time anyway. It was good seeing him back, and again, he was another player who had a fantastic game at the weekend, and he showed what he's capable of. Some of his passing was incredible. I want to just touch on the goals then, right? So we'll run through all 7 goals. Obviously, the first goal, 8 minutes, Rio Hatate, another peach, just at the edge of the box, just taking his shooting on sight, and obviously reaping the rewards for it. What did you think of the goal, Francis?
I'm sure he had like a wee chance earlier on in the game as well, before he scored, but it was a good persistence for, I think it was McGregor down like a couple of times, no McGregor, sorry, Taylor, a couple of times tried to cut it back, then eventually
Gregory,
like you said. Like you say, just it was first time shot, just swept it in across the keeper and at the far corner. It just, like I touched on it, put to bed any nerves within what might have been within the crowd and stuff. You got that early goal, there was, and then there was also got to be no sort of a hangover for the game the week before. You were just got to keep going. And I think it'll do Hatate the power of good. He was coming on to a kind of game, but I felt like at Ibrox said, don't know if the occasion got the better of him or stuff, or it wasn't one of his best performances. So hopefully that gives him a bit of confidence going forward and stuff. But it was a really nice goal. I think, like, if you take it, obviously we've got to talk about all the goals, but like all the goals in isolation were really good in all different manners.
Yep, absolutely. For me, the what I like about Hatate is he seems to have. He doesn't like what we're seeing a lot this season is us try to work the ball into the box and cross the ball into the box, and it's not been fruitful for us. And at times we've discussed it on the podcast as well when we've said we need to be taking shots at range and testing the keeper and pulling the defence out because they're so compact at times. And Hatate done that, and he's been doing that. He's no scared to take a shot. Turnbull's another one that does that. Ross, but what did you think of the goal? Like I say, it was just at the edge of the box. He hit it, and it was an absolute peach.
Aye, he like you say, he likes to hit it early if given the opportunity. Doesn't always come off, but when it does, it's great. What is it? For fuck's sake. Aye, but I mean, it was no more than Celtic deserved for the opening period. The way they started the game, they pinned St Johnstone back, and that was how the game panned out. Like for minute 1 to the final minute, but it was good. Like Franny said, it was good persistence down the left hand side for Taylor, and he eventually gets it I think it was the second time he asked me to go across to Hatate, and he's took it early and it's been right across the keeper into the far corner. Just a good goal, and it just set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yep, absolutely. A fantastic goal, and then obviously the second goal was Giakoumakis on the 22nd minute. And this comes down to the obviously, and it sort of shows that our high press as well, not just in an attacking sense, but as soon as they've got the ball, we're pressing them, and we can see it throughout the team, top to bottom. We don't let up. Players are just throwing you straight away. As soon as you've got the ball in possession, we smother you. And Giakoumakis' goal, obviously, a result of a poor pass back. Giakoumakis reacted perfectly, managed to get off the mark, catch the ball, take a touch, and then left himself at the tightest of angles. Honestly, I didn't think he was going to score it at the angle he was at, but he managed to hit it clean, and he scored it. Francis, what about the Giakoumakis goal? What was your thoughts on that?
A bit like before anybody goes, it was a kind of Larsson-esque type finish. It was just in the corner type, but I don't think you can fault Maeda's working. Although he never even touched the ball in the lead up to the goal, his pressing caused a wee bit of uncertainty in the St Johnstone defence, and the boys obviously are running back to goal with Maeda pressing him, and then he's played a poor back pass. Giakoumakis has anticipated it, and then just one touch round the keeper for a tight angle, and he's squeezed the ball in and just carried on his good form. It's unfortunate he went off injured, but hopefully it's more precaution at this stage that he's off, because I think he's proved that he's kind of key for us right now, especially the way we're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about yourself, Ross? What did you think of the goal?
Aye, just a typical Giakoumakis, clinical. Doesn't need many chances. He's just an out and out goal scorer for me. And he gets the touch past the keeper, and you think the chance is gone. But he somehow squeezes it in for that ridiculous angle, and it just pays to the fact that he's a top striker, and it was a top striker's goal.
Absolutely. A couple of guys are in here. 2 touches for the big man. He's showing off. And Giakoumakis, the left back, was in trouble for me. I mean, again, we've touched on this in previous episodes about. I mean, we've saw Giakoumakis sort of come into his game, and he's proved a lot of people who sort of wrote him off early on when he started playing, and he was missing a few chances, and people were saying maybe he's no got it, but he was given the time. Obviously, Ange's put his faith in him, and he started to gel with the guys round about him, and he showed that he's capable of scoring goals. And like we've touched on, everything's been in one touch. He's a proper poacher's type of goals he's scoring, but he also does a lot off the ball, as you touched on, in terms of he's quick to press players as well. His movement's fantastic, and he just obviously, as you mentioned, he's shown himself to be a really, really important player. So hopefully that injury or that knock that he's picked up isn't more serious. But again, on the back of that, if it is, at least Keogh goes back, and we've got somebody who you can rely on to step in. Speaking of Maeda, though, obviously goal number 3, 36 minutes. Ball came in, whipped into him, and he headed it into his near post. Francis, pretty standard goal. Done well to sort of create space. I was surprised at the space he was actually given, to be honest. But he managed to get an end of it, and he tucked it away. What was your thoughts on that?
It was, again, another good goal. Like Jota got out wide, and then just sort of with one touch whipped it in, and he has got that. Like Jota, I don't think gets the credit he deserves for his crossing. He has got a really good crossing where he can whip it, and it kind of loops up, like it goes high and dips down quite well and stuff. James Arthur wouldn't be staying their travellers when he's doing. That's what I'm going to say.
Maybe he does. We don't know that, Franny.
But
maybe he was talking about me.
Maybe. It was a really, really good cross, and like he does that so often. I think Jota, that type of cross, but it's a big whoop and just a dip, and it's really good. And Maeda just in the right place, sort of, and then heads it in. It kind of looked like it came off his shoulder a wee bit, and I think the keeper should have done better. But nonetheless, he's got the goal that his first half performance deserved him, and it's just Maeda just keeps on going. He's got another goal to add to his talent and stuff. So it's just got to keep giving him confidence and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people are still saying that for all Maeda's work rate and everything else, and what he does off the ball and he's pressing and he's defensive side, he's chasing everything for 90 minutes, regardless of what the scoreline is. But a lot of people are still very critical with the fact that he's not a goal scorer, or he doesn't appear to be. But maybe somebody can in the chat can tell me, is it something like 9 goals he scored, or
I feel like, to be fair,
he
has scored a few. Be all right, like.
It's all wee shitey goals, but they all count. And he's in the right place at the right time.
Right place to score the shitey goals.
Aye, and he takes the chances. He's there.
Aye. No, totally.
Well, elaborate, Ross.
Oh.
We're talking about his goal here. Let's go.
On the goal. I thought the goal was well. First of all, I can't speak highly enough of Jota's cross, as Brown Warrior says there. You can see the way he kind of chops back inside a bit, and it's a very deliberate pick out because you see him looking up just before he hits the cross, and Maeda's made a kind of late dart, and he sort of, although it's a cross into the box, he sort of beat the offside trap a bit. And as Franny says, it's the whip and the dip on the cross, and it's right into a dangerous area. And I mean, you're saying that Giakoumakis isn't a great goal scorer, but for me, he takes that brilliant. It comes in and it's whipped in, and the only thing he can do with it is glance it in at the near post. Could the keeper do better? What did I say?
Giakoumakis.
Did I? Aye. Aye.
I was like, where's he gone with this?
Aye. Only a couple of letters out.
Who said that?
No, but as I say, Maeda, we're saying he's not a great goal scorer, but he does the only thing he can do with that. And you can maybe ask, should the keeper do better? But the way that the pace on the ball, and then he gets a glance on it, the keeper's probably watching it, and then there's the wee nick, and he can't react in time. And it's just a great finish for Maeda, in my opinion. And you were saying there like he's maybe not a great goal scorer, but I don't think he's not the central striker. He isn't a central striker. Yeah. So you're not expecting him to be the talisman, if you like. But you're wanting me to, like Jota does, like Abada does, you're wanting me to chip in with goals. And at the moment, Faith came in at Celtic. That's exactly what he's doing. And there's more than just him chipping in with goals. We've got goals all over the park. It's fantastic.
And that obviously showed at the weekend as well. 6 different goal scorers.
Aye.
Yep. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Lanky made a good point. I mean, and it's frightening when you think about Jota's crossing, Maeda's pace, Giakoumakis' strength going to cause problems for teams, and then that's before we even get to Kyogo, Abada, O'Reilly, Rogic, Turnbull. The team, in terms of depth, is just absolutely incredible. And like I say, Kyogo coming back, and that was exciting for me. I loved it. We'll get to that in just a minute. But I want to touch on, obviously, goal number 4, Juranovic. As cool as you like, penalty, 52nd minute. Did you, first of all, did you think it was definitely a penalty, and was he the right choice to take a goal?
Well, you could have maybe argued against Starfelt considering the situation, just to try and get him a goal, but nah,
I did hear some people. I think it was the boys on Celtic TV were saying that. It was like they're praying every week Starfelt scores a goal.
But I think it was probably the right thing to do to keep it to Juranovic, because there might be a key penalty coming up and stuff, so it just kind of keeps him in a rhythm of scoring. Mm-hmm. So I think it was the right decision to get to Juranovic more than. I don't think Ange is a sentiment type guy. I don't know if he would have been happy if, even though we're up 3-0, if Starfelt went up and took it and missed it. I don't know if Postecoglou.
Don't know. They had Giakoumakis hitting one against Livingston. It should have been Juranovic all day long.
I know, but I think that was obviously way back earlier, where he's maybe trying to get the goals tally up and stuff.
Aye.
In fairness, the Starfelt did come close as well. Did he know it was a fair corner? I think. It ended up wide. He just couldn't direct it to go, but he managed to get the head in it.
No.
But I mean, again, it's only a penalty. There's not too much to really say about it. The keeper dived the right way, but Juranovic obviously took it too far away from him. And again, as cool as you like when it comes to penalties, Ross.
Aye, I've said it months ago. I've never been as confident in my entire time of watching Celtic. I've never been as confident with a player hitting a penalty kick, and I'm going to stick my neck in the line and say I would go as far as to include the King in it. I think he's right up there with him as a penalty taker, if not better. He just never looks like he's going to miss. And I know the keeper's guessed the right way on Saturday, and he's got close, but it was just so perfectly positioned in the corner that he couldn't get near it. It had the perfect amount of pace on it, and it was low, it was along the ground. Everything that you want in a penalty and everything that makes it difficult for a keeper. It was a perfect penalty. He's ice in his veins when he's hitting them. It almost looks arrogant. He's so cool. And for me, it was a stonewall penalty kick. The defender, he's not deliberately fouled him, but it's kind of a coming together. But he's ran into I can't even get the players' names right tonight. He's ran into Hatate and he stopped him from getting a scoring opportunity, and it's a penalty all day long, VAR or no VAR.
Yeah, as you say, he's got ice in his veins, and when he steps up to take a penalty, you're confident he's going to score it. That brings us on to O'Reilly, super sub, comes on the park, scores 2 goals. 2 goals within minutes of each other, a lad. Obviously, his first goal in the 70th minute. Diving header. Who was it? Was it Abada that nearly caught in the end of an overhead kick when the ball was whipped in? Because when I seen it, I thought he hit it. Aye. But it's when you seen it from another angle, you saw that O'Reilly got the head to it. But again, wee diving header, fantastic goal. He took it well. But it was this second goal, and this is the one everybody's talking about, and this is one we touched on at the start of the show. How many passes did you say it was, Ross? Something like 40.
It was 46, but I don't know if I missed 1 or 2 passes right at the start when I watched it back. It was definitely 46.
It's 40 something. Yeah.
Aye, ridiculous. And I think just about or every player did touch the ball at least twice, and it was absolutely fantastic. And you mentioned that the move started down in their under pressure in their own corner, the corner flag with Taylor, who. As of late, he's been surprising me. I didn't think that he had that in his bag, but he managed to, like you said, he just kind of done a wee pirouette, a wee dance, managed to get the ball clear, and that's what started the move. So, the second goal though, and then the way he took it when the ball in the box, shades of Rogic all over it. When he took that little touch, the hesitation, the pause, got the defender off guard, taking another wee touch, and then struck it into the top corner. Beautiful goal, Francis.
And like I say, started Faye Taylor just at the back, just be about a yard to play with really, and not once did he panic. I mean, you're up 4-0. It's probably a wee bit easier not to panic, but he had confidence in his ability that he was not going to take the easy route out and just chuck it up the line and get ourselves up the park maybe 20-30 yards and wait for St Johnstone to attack again. So it was really good in that. And I think it's the boy Tam Selleck on Twitter's done the video where he puts it over with Angie's speech at the start of the season. And I think if you watch... I'm
talking about in pens, not just... no all-round play.
Daniel's calling you out.
I know.
And, but if you haven't seen that video, I'd go and check it out on Twitter, because it's so... on point, it's edited so good how he's saying if we pass fast and all this stuff, if it doesn't happen, if we pass it in there, it doesn't happen, to come back out and start again, and it's been edited so good that you can actually pretty much see that when he's saying that, doing that chat and then putting it with that move, it's that whole conversation, that whole speech is that goal essentially. And not once was when you watch it with that, when not once was any of the passes nobody really taking 4, 5, 6 touches on the ball. it came back out from time to time, but there was a method to why it was coming. It was not like resetting. It was coming out to try and draw them out, and then it just got to a stage, like you said, where it got into a position in the final third. Then the play got quicker again and more direct, and then, like you said, it came to Riley. He sort of dummied to shoot, then just whipped into the top corner. It was just it's goal. If that doesn't get goal of the season, it's got to take a lot of beating for that now to be goal of the season, I think.
Yep. I don't. For me, Ross, and you can comment on it yourself in just a minute. But for me, I thought the build-up play to the goal was more impressive than the goal itself. And how it all started just added to it. But I mean, it was still a good touch. Ross, what was your thoughts on? Well, I mean, you can comment on both his goals at this stage if you want. What's your thoughts on O'Reilly?
Well, I mean, the goal with the 46 passes, it was a phenomenal team goal. You just can't speak highly enough of it. 46 passes and it ends up in the top C. What more do you want? But it's like that video Franny's talking about. It's like he said, it just sort of it fits perfectly, and it's that whole goal was exactly what Ange has been drumming into them for 9-10 months now. Like, if you're on the far side, you're still involved. If the ball's on the far side, you're still involved. You're always moving. Keep the ball moving. If the opponent wants to stop, that's good for us. We never stop. And it's that saying just gets me going all the time. We don't fucking stop. It's amazing, man. It's a tremendous saying. And I was watching off a wee bit, slightly off topic here, but I was watching the Man City Liverpool game on Sunday.
On that note, no, I'm joking.
No, but the guys in the studio, Gary Neville, who was in it? Roy Keane, I think. But they were all talking about the both teams, like, and they kept saying, "Oh, they never stop. They keep going in that." And I thought, that's what Ange is bringing to us. And I'm not saying by any stretch that we're as good as they two teams, but we're trying to play that style, and it's the now in the modern game, it's the right way to play football. And I watched the two teams as well playing it across the back, and at times they couldn't play through the other team's press, and they were losing the ball, but they still kept doing it, and that's what Celtic are doing. And they just believe in the way they want to play, and they're just, we all know it, they're not going to veer for it, but the more they do it, they're just going to keep getting better and better. And I mean, the squad and the team itself, it's fully quality and it's great, but you wonder in the summer who he's going to sort of add, because right now the whole squad is in a great place in every position. You could probably make a case that they could maybe add somebody to the left back row, because I think Greg Taylor's doing amazing, but is there enough cover there? Or is there somebody that can come in and be better? Other than that, you look at, if we can keep Carter Vickers, we're good in there. I don't know if I've totally went off on a tangent here, by the way. I get that we're talking about the goal, but I've just went off on one. But you try to work out how we can make the team better than what it is. But domestically, the team's ready. It's set up. It's by far and away the best team in the league. But going into the Champions League, you just don't know. I worry that although it's brilliant, it's easy in the eye and stuff like that, teams don't get after you the same in Scotland as what they do in Europe. And I worry that this team are maybe a bit like the Rodgers team, whereas they're outstanding, easy in the eye, but when they go into Europe, they find it very difficult because they're no changing. And we all love it that they're no veering and no changing for the way they want to play. But sometimes in Europe, you have to be a bit more. What's the
play
word?
The fixture.
Play the fixture. But the way that Ange has signed a certain type of player to play a certain type of way, and they're not going to be able to play, I don't know, just for talking's sake, say we get Real Madrid in the group or something, they're not going to be able to play that way where, well, And saying that, I was going to say they're not going to be able to play that way, but they done it at Ibrox that second half. So
I think he's got to set out into kind of
aye, he's going to
but he's got
set
to go attack, isn't he?
aye. That's my
Could get a
worry.
few scuddings, like, but
Aye, that's my worry for Europe, because the team is great, but is the quality to play that way at a high enough level to hold your own in the Champions League and not take a scudding? I'm not sure yet.
Mhm.
No, I mean, that's a very valid point, Ross. And I think that one of the things we need to also remember is when we were playing in Europe at the start of this season, we were still in the very early stages of the guys playing together, and they were still getting to grips with the system and sort of gelling with one another. And we've brought players in since then that have definitely added some quality. And it's a case of, even then, we're showing no fear against these teams now. And we showed, despite the fact that we lost them, we gave a good account of ourselves in most games. I thought that we despite the fact that we maybe lost some goals, we still gave the teams a game, and we were a threat, a goal scoring threat at every point during those games, and there was never the teams can't take us lightly the way we're playing. So I think you make a very good point. How is that going to work in Europe going forward, especially when you're coming to the Champions League, which is a different ball game altogether? And like, should you be adjusting the team then to sort of play the fixture, as we said, defensively against teams who are going to be doing the exact same as we're trying to do to them to us? Your likes of your Barcelonas, your Bayern Munichs, and all that, they are going to cause teams all sorts of problems. So it'd be very interesting to see. But I think with the way the team is at the minute, and I don't know if you agree with this, Francis, or even Ross, if you do, but I think that we're night and day if we were then. And
Aye.
like you said, a couple of you get Carter Vickers permanent. I don't know the situation with Jota, but if he doesn't sign, because I think he's been offered a new contract by Benfica, at least that's what I'm hearing. They seem quite keen to keep him, so he's got that decision to make. Is that a player that you then do you look at the team you've got to know and then say we still need to replace him? And like you mentioned, the left back, Greg Taylor, I've said it a number of times, and he's been impressing me as of late. But as a European caliber, is he going to be able to do what he's doing against St. Johnstone, against a Liverpool or a Bayern Munich and all that? So, I mean, it remains to be seen what we'll do going forward. But obviously, the Magnificent Seven, after all the goals, you never wanted to get me in. You wanted us to keep scoring. But Abada popped up in the 78th minute. Now, this all started a ball over the top by Kyogo, all people. He just made his comeback. Yeah, the applause he got when he came on the park was as big as any of the goals we scored. It was fantastic to see the wee man back. But he had a beautiful pass over the top. Maeda got an end it. Ross, you said earlier that he's not got the best first touch, but I thought his touch to bring that ball down was perfect. And he could have, if this was a greedier team and it was a team of individuals, Maeda could have continued to chase that ball. He's certainly got the pace, and then tried to score the goal himself, but he left it because he seen Abada coming in, and Abada struck it perfectly and hit the roof of the net. What was your thoughts on the goal?
Who was that for me?
Aye. Whoever wants to answer it.
You've sort of like said it perfectly. I think the Kyogo, the ball was, you see him again, similar to Jota. He picks it up, gets the touch out for his body, and he just sees Maeda's run, and he picks him out perfectly. And I agree. I did say that. Let's get this right, Maeda hasn't got the best touch, and he did. I think he took it in the chest. He took it well. It was it wasn't getting away from him. He was going to catch it, but I think he would have had to then take a touch and then try and turn on it and get the shot off. Whereas Abada was running onto it. He's recognised that, and it sort of epitomises the team spirit and the unselfishness and the collective that he's just pulled out and let Abada have the shot. And again, Abada, 19, 20-year-old, you look at that and everybody's raving about Jota now and how good he's been. And he has went off the boil slightly. But I mean, you look at Abada on the other side, and I think he's had every bit as good a season as Jota. He's maybe he's probably not getting the recognition because he's not as pretty on the ball, but I think he's got more goals than Jota. I don't know if he's got more assists, but he's had every bit as good a season as Jota. And for a guy to come in for another country with a £4 million price tag, he's repaid that no end. And he's been exceptional for us. And another goal at the weekend. And he's come off the bench. He's came off the bench on Saturday, and O'Reilly's came off the bench, and we've got 3 goals for our substitutes. Now, I know the game was away for St Johnstone by the time they've came on, but again, it things to the squad and everybody like doing their bit. 2 guys coming off the bench and giving us 3 goals. It's tremendous.
Yep. What about you?
I was just going to say Villarreal was the only team that can stop us for constraint.
Oh, you answering Ryan?
I know, like Ross said, that Abada, like, it was a nice, almost a quarterback type pass for Kyogo, then chested down, and Abada just rattled it in. And it's like he's had a fantastic season. I think it's 25 goal contributions, but obviously split between assists and goals. And for a guy that's just came in to a new team at 19, now 20, to have that kind of impact in one season and with games to spare, and like I say, he's not been featuring late. Well, not featuring for the start lately, and it doesn't seem to have knocked his confidence. That if anything, he's potentially playing a wee bit better because he's coming on saying, almost showing that going, look, I was good at the start, and but I can contribute in this team, and it's just that it's great to see just like 6 different goal scorers just showing that it's a team even at that sort of stage. Like we said, Maeda could have easily just been greedy, tried to get the goal himself and get another one, but no, he's seen that Abada was in a better position to get the goal. I just wish Abada was a wee bit more like that. I think he broke away after that and had a chance to cut it back to Kyogo. I mean, the shot was there for him, but it was the easier one would have been to cut it back to Kyogo. But you can't really be picking flaws after Saturday.
Nah, no when you're up 6 goals, 7 goals. Well, like I say, I was hoping that the only thing I was praying for, like, it didn't matter how many goals was scoring, but when Kyogo came on, I was just praying he got a goal, he just mark his comeback. I just thought that would have been fantastic. But I mean, 7 goals scored, as we mentioned earlier, quite possibly the best game we've had all year. In terms of performances, anyway, it was flawless. Everybody was on point. I don't think there was anybody who didn't have a good game. McCarthy, maybe because he was on later and you never really had much time to sort of implement himself in the game. But everybody else, top to bottom, who played in that game was absolutely outstanding. Maeda aside, because obviously he won man of the match, who was your other... If you could pick 2 other standouts, Ross, who would you pick?
That's a tough question because they were all really good. I think Matt O'Reilly's contribution can't go unnoticed. I think he looked head and shoulders above everybody when he came on. Who else? I think obviously Callum McGregor just does what Callum McGregor does. I'm struggling to pick MD out like fully. I just think everybody played. There was nobody, obviously barring Maeda, there was nobody that absolutely stood out miles. I just think the full team played as a collective. We keep using that word collective, so that's what it is. They all played as a team. There was no individuals in that performance on Saturday, and for me, it probably was our best performance of the season. Well, I don't know, because probably for the full 90 minutes, it probably was. I think our best was maybe the first half against Rangers. I think we were exceptional at Parkhead. But we just keep getting better and better, and you just hope that they continue this form going into the final 5 games of the season. Now that the split's been announced,
Yep.
I can't see them no continuing the form. They're just. It's not even a really good moment now. They're just dominating everybody, and they're the best team in the league by some distance for me.
I would agree with that. I think you're absolutely spot on. I think we're head and shoulders above everybody else in the league at the minute, and we've proved it. What about yourself, Francis? Quickly, just two other names who played at the weekend there that were standouts.
I think, like Ross said, O'Reilly, wasn't a cameo because he got the full 45 minutes, but O'Reilly then, I think Taylor again. I think Taylor had a brilliant match as well. He was almost at times he was playing like a number 8. He was in the middle of the park, and it was just somebody was on the ball. You're like, oh, that's actually Greg Taylor's almost like in the 8 or 10 position. So, and never once did I think he looked out of place or did they get caught going backwards. But so I would have to say O'Reilly and Taylor for me. But like Ross said, it was for winning 7-0. There was no. There wasn't standout performance. There was nobody who were going, what, apart from my other side, there was nobody who went, wow, what a fucking game he had.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Brown's come in here. McGregor is to Ansball what Pirlo was to Juve, and Xavi was to Tiki-Taka. He's our metronome in there and dictating the pace. I would agree with that.
Absolutely agree with that.
A good analogy as well, metronome, dictating the pace. Uncle Lawrence has come in. Hi, boys. Do you think with us not playing midweek will be our advantage on Sunday? I would say so. I think giving the players the extra rest at their legs, because I mean, as we've seen, they're running. It's non-stop constantly. So I'm sure they'll still be training, obviously, but having the sort of no playing midweek could just give them a wee bit extra rest. I would say that's fair.
It could, but then if Rangers get a good result on Thursday, their tails could be up, and it's one of them. You'd want to be. In a way, I would rather be playing in Europe, but at the same time, a week off, I think, is beneficial at this stage and stuff. But I would much rather be playing in Europe, if I'm all honest with you.
See, I'm indifferent. I mean, I think we said at the start of this season, Europe wasn't a priority. Winning the league was.
Isn't it? But it doesn't mean I didn't want to be in it.
Of course you want to be in it, but where we are at this stage of the season, we're still on course for a treble. We're running away new. We're taking a lead in the league. I think it's. I'm not fussed about Europe this year. William,
I would
go for it.
I was just going to say I'd kind of agree with that. I know what Franny's saying. Of course, you want to be in Europe if possible, but if you take the start of the season into account, I looked at the start of the season and thought if we can get this league title back, phenomenal. If we can add a cup to that, even better. I always thought Europe was a bit of a stretch this year, and I think we did give a good. I think for the most part we gave a good account of ourselves. I know we lost a lot of goals in that group, but we scored a lot of goals as well, and I think we're becoming a more secure team, like we've touched on. And I mean, my only worry going back to that like Champions League thing is this team, is it going to be equipped and stuff to like, we are improving all the time, but it wasn't that long ago that we played Bodo Glimt, and I know we didn't play well in the 2 games, and we can play a hell of a lot better than what we did, but they really took us apart. And I mean, they are a very good side, Bodo Glimt, but there'll be better teams that we'll face next season in this Champions League if and when we get into it. And I just hope that we keep improving and we don't turn in 2 performances but like we did against them, because we will get found out if we do. But at the same time, if we keep playing the way we're playing and improving the way we're improving, there's not many teams that want to face Celtic at Parkhead.
No, definitely not. I think that's a fair statement. You want to add to that, Francis?
Nah, I think he's kind of summed that up all right. And I've actually forgot what the question was anyway, John. So.
I've just been having a tangent all night, man.
You're getting as bad as me for that, Ross.
Okay.
By the way, just shout out to William. William was meant to be on the night. Francis obviously stepped in his place. Thanks for that, Francis. William's he's been hit with about the man flu, so I hope you're feeling better, mate. We're ready to party on Sunday when you're hosting us, and we'll all be going live for the shed.
Big potty chili and they go and everything, man. Oh,
no, it's barbecue weather. I thought.
Well, weather dependent. It could be chili or burgers.
Like he's whatever he's offering up, I'll eat.
By the way, I told him the other night that I
I
like rocket with my chili. I'm not wanting any of that Doritos shite.
So a couple of the things to touch on. Obviously, we mentioned we're going to cover the cup game this weekend in depth on Friday. It's going to be a full panel, excluding me. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be available, but everybody else in the podcast will be on to talk about the game. So it'll be a cracking episode. That'll be 8:00 Friday. So make sure you tune in for that. But obviously, post split fixtures have been announced. We know exactly where we stand now coming into these games. So we'll just run through them quickly. And we spoke about this before we went live, boys. The toughest game, at least on paper for us, is the first game, Sunday, April 24th at Ross County away. Would you agree with that? Still in that sort of mindset?
Because we have struggled up. We did struggle up there earlier on and stuff, and they have played well and they're good at home and stuff. But if you win that game, I would say the next, like the Rangers game, would be, although it's at Parkhead, is the toughest game because what's at stake. I know mathematically, obviously, this is if Rangers actually win their game, which I fully expect. I think they're at home to Motherwell, so I would fully expect them to get the 3 points in that game.
Yeah, that brings us obviously. Can I just say as well? You mentioned that the game is Sunday, May 1st. I've not done the math, so I've not tried to work any out. But I've seen a few people float and say if we beat Ross County, we could potentially win the league.
Only if Rangers drop points.
They need to drop points mathematically. Like if both teams win their first game after the split, then we beat them on 9 points with 9 to play with a plus goal difference.
Aye. So the league is as good as over there, but mathematically we could potentially
mathematically you could still you've not won the league, but
I'm surprised that they made it the second fixture because of that.
I thought they just tried to take everything out. Make it the first game. Although even if we win it, you would struggle to lose 9 points with 12 to play. But mathematically, like we say, it's no done.
The only reason that I think that possibly that they never made it the first game is because it would have meant we'd have played them 2 weeks in a row. Again, the semi-final this weekend and then the following week. That's the only reason. But it would be amazing if they dropped something against Motherwell and we beat them at Parkhead and won the league. Man, I would be. Regardless Absolutely. If they drop anything, I'm getting in the motor on the morning of the game and I'm playing the So Much Love right out the windies and driving all around about the place and doing a Gerrard just to remind them.
First stop, Hart Hill.
Oh yeah.
Doc Allen, he came to my house last year. I'm going to his house.
Oh, did he? Aye, right. Aye. Brown, I don't know how to take that comment, mate, but listen, if it's keeping the Ox away, it's fine. Don't be slagging off the Beats today. They're not even as good as Beats, Daniel. Is this what you want to start picking on my headphones now?
It's because you look like Hector the Taxman with that hat.
This is a baseball cap, by the way. Know that wee bowler number.
It's because of the lighting.
Is that what it's with the angle I'm at as well, I think. Other fixtures that have been announced, obviously, May the 1st, Celtic v Rangers. That's a 12 o'clock kick-off. Saturday, May 7th, we're at home to Hearts, 12 o'clock kick-off. Wednesday, May the 11th, we're away. Dundee United, 7:30 at night kick-off. I don't understand these fucking weird mid-week kick-off times. And Saturday, May 14th, home to Motherwell, 12:15 kick-off. And every game, Francis, you said every game is on Sky. I think they're on Sky Sports.
4 of the 5.
The
Ross County one, I think it's the Ross County one's the only one, isn't it? Weirdly.
Sky will still probably fall about 25 games short of what they are supposed to show.
I know. Mental.
Ross. What I call it. So a couple of things just to talk about. Obviously, one of the big talking points at the minute, just to start wrapping things up, is the introduction of VAR. The vote is being, I think it's being collated. They're doing the vote on the April 19th. So that's coming up pretty soon. As it stands, what I'm led to believe, what I've read, I've taken a couple of notes. All 42 senior sides need to cast their vote. To pass, the vote needs to have support for at least 9 Scottish Premiership sides, and then 15 clubs for the Championship, 15 for League One, and 15 for League Two. And a yes vote would obviously give them the green light for the system introduced in this Premiership at the latter stages of the Premier Sports Cup following the World Cup in late 2022. Now, this has been, we've saw VAR obviously come into introduction in England. I think by and large, most people think it just ruins the game. It takes away the sort of natural flow of the game. And as we've seen, VAR, it's supposed to come in and help correct decisions be made. But time and time again, we're seeing incorrect decisions being made. Ross, what's your thoughts on the introduction of VAR? Do you think, first of all, personally, what do you think about VAR as a whole? Should it be implemented in Scotland? And what do you think the effects it's going to be if it is?
I think when you watch it down in England and that, I think when they get the decisions right, if the referees made the wrong decision and then they get it right, it is.
I asked when you were like,
aye, when the referees maybe made a mistake on the part and VAR rectifies it and gets it right, and it does what it's supposed to do, it can be good, but like you've said, it stops the flow of the game. You maybe get a goal and then you're away celebrating, and the next minute it's chopped off. For me, I think that regardless regardless of it being brought in here, I think the refs will still get it wrong. I just think, and people have said in the past, like, the problem with referees is that they're no like full time and all the rest of it. But I don't even think it's that. I just think it's human error, and like the refs are just no good. Even down south, like, they're full time, they get things wrong all the time, and for me, yeah, some people think, oh, maybe put what's that word again? Forgot the word. When it's like the referees, Dean Rangers decisions and that. It starts with a C or something. Can't mind. Conspiracy.
I'm sitting there chatting like that. What?
Aye, but people think it will take away the conspiracy and that, but it's still the same refs. They're going to be in a studio wherever, and they're still going to, for me, get decisions wrong. It happens all the time down south. Like, the referees don't want to, like if they've made a decision on the park and then they get in the rear, like, to go and have a look at it at the side of the park or whatever, they always change it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even if you can clearly see like it wasn't a penalty or whatever, they still change their mind because they think, in their head, I think they think, well, they've seen something. What have I done wrong? And then they just change it. I don't know. For me, I don't want it. Everyone will vote would be last minute.
I hope the votes are public, because whatever Celtic vote, Rangers will vote against it.
I'm not sure whether or not it is going to be a sort of closed door vote, or if it is going to be public. I mean, I don't know how these things are sort of run, but we know there's a date, and we know that 42 clubs are going to be voting on it. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I mean, one of the biggest things, and Franny, I'll come at you in a minute for your opinion, but one of the biggest things we need to bear in mind is, and somebody mentioned it up here, I apologise because I did read the comment of just Joe Finlay. I know it's a bit tight. Why are fees not being split evenly? And what the point? Why is the national bodies not coughing up? And it's a valid point, because what the SPFL and what the sort of the suits in the hierarchy have kind of decided is they've promised at least the sort of the smaller teams in Scotland that they're going to pursue a sponsor in an attempt to sort of offset the financial impact it's going to have on the smaller clubs, or the poorer clubs in Scotland. And they seem absolutely confident, or increasingly confident, as they're being quoted, as saying that the clubs will vote in favour of it, despite all that. And I think that I was reading that the estimated annual costs are going to be around about 1.4 million. And in terms of Premiership clubs, the contribution is going to be based on league placing. So if you're finishing first in the league, and this is another thing where we differ greatly for England, right? You look at the amount of money they actually make for winning the league. It is by far and away, it's ridiculous amounts. And we are nowhere near that level. And I don't know, what's the fee for winning the league? What do you know what it is? Does anybody know?
I think you have it 2.5 or something.
Aye, something like that.
Aye, it's ridiculous. And 1.4 million of that obviously is going to need to be paid to cover the cost of VAR. SPFL, or at least the sort of the Scottish football setup, isn't going to be paying for it themselves. They've got to try and find sponsors to cover some of the costs. They're not going to cover it all. But it's reported that league winners would be covering at least 16% of the cost, and second place about 11.5%, and then it being dropping incrementally down through obviously the Premier League clubs. That's absolutely ridiculous. What's your thoughts on that, Francis?
I think it's better that not everybody's taking an equal share. I'm not expecting Championship teams to be paying for it, especially when it's not going to be in that league. It's just got to be in the Premiership. But by that token as well, I can't be expecting a St Johnstone that to pay like 400 or 500 grand a week for it. So it's one of them. I think it's more sort of the governing body should be looking to try and cover it all without actually then making it incremental. Try and at least maybe say every team in the league has to pay X amount and we'll cover the rest. Where it's not really obviously Celtic and Rangers aside, it's not really putting any team into any financial sort of struggle, so to speak. It's not going into that. But as for VAR, I think it will come, and it seems natural that it will come. I don't want it to come. I think it's bad for the game. Like, although down in England, I think they've done like Czech studies, and I think before VAR, refs were about 96% correct. And I think, why do you need to be, as stupid as it sounds, why do you need to be perfect? It's that we elemented out the human error is what I like. And I think with VAR, they've got up to 99%, which again, to then argue when you're getting 99% of decisions right, to then argue to say you don't want it seems a bit stupid. But I didn't want it. And I know Ross said about professional referees. Probably, personally, I think you should be aiming to get professional referees before you worry about VAR. I'm not saying like that's the answer to all our problems, but I think our refereeing right now is just a poor standard. And I think 100%. It should actually be looking more to try and get professional referees, but spend that money to try and make these guys professional. It's where it's their livelihood, because at the end of the day, they have a bad performance. There's no real consequences. They're still picking up their wage. They'll still get the same level of game the following week. But if you make it professional where there's punishment for being bad, like a bad performance, then you should, in theory, get a better standard of refereeing. So I would be more want to use that money to go towards making these guys professional, giving them proper training, and then maybe further down the line look at VAR. But I think it's got to be VAR instead of with these amateur referees running it.
No, you're absolutely right. I think the comment about the standard of refereeing in this league is paramount to this conversation, because VAR is one VAR is one thing entirely. But you're right. We've still no worked out this problem within Scotland in terms of the actual level of refereeing here. Now, since we started this podcast, I have been extremely vocal on what I think about the Scottish referees. We've all had opinions on it. And I think that the standard of refereeing in this country is fucking abysmal, straight up. And it's and like you said, they're not even full-time referees. In England, you've got full-time referees taking control of VAR and still getting decisions wrong. I mean, they're still making outlandish calls. And up here, you've got, and I'm going to say it, and I stand by it, they're biased as fuck. They are. And this whole pish about conspiracies and all that, I don't want to hear it, because we know that the guys, where their allegiances lie, and it's evident. And I've said it numerous times, and you made a very, very valid point there, Francis. It's before we even consider getting VAR in, which I don't want, because it does sort of kill off the game. And one of the things, at least, that we have that English games don't have these days is that sort of passion and stuff like that. That sort of free flowing football. There's none of the shit. The stops and play. It's just you take it as it's given. And there's just an element to it, and it adds to the game up here. And I think VAR is going to kill that off. But you're absolutely 100% right. The standard of refereeing in this country needs to improve. They need to start either getting in foreign referees in some capacity that have no allegiances to any clubs up here, because this is a goldfish bowl, and we know that people are bigots and that it's just the way it is. It's just life here. There's no point in denying it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I think people called us out before, and they were saying shit like, are you honestly suggesting that these people, you calling into question their integrity? 100% I'm not. Why lie? Why sugarcoat it? Why try and play? Do you know what I mean? It's like devil's advocate and all the rest of it. It's pish. It's an absolute joke.
I'm sorry, I just put the kettle on there.
I was about to say that noise.
I know.
But no, I mean, I think the standard the refereeing does. And another thing that you mentioned there, Francis, which I fully agree with Ross, I'll let you speak in just a second. Sorry, I'm going to have it. It's my turn to go off on a tangent. Is you mentioned like penalties for referees for having poor performances, because as it stands, referees are untouchable. You can't. Managers and players aren't allowed to come out and say there was a poor refereeing performance after the game because they get reprimanded. And it's ridiculous that you don't have a say against it, and the SPFL and everything back them. And it's absolutely ridiculous, Ross. On you go.
I was just sort of. You're touching on. We all know that the standard of refereeing in this country is poor, but I think the standard of refereeing all around the world is no great. A lot of it's human error, and I know you're saying about the conspiracies, and you're saying that definitely there is bias. This season, last season. To me, there does look at times to be bad. The amount of penalties that Rangers get is incredible. And I understand, like Franny saying, like you want the referees to go professional. I get that. I totally do. But would it make them any better? No, for me. Like I've said, the English referees are professional now. And they've got VAR at their disposal, and they're still getting a number of decisions wrong, even with the benefit of video evidence, like replay after replay. The only time that they get it 100% right is with the offsides, because they've got the lines.
And even that,
regardless of the VAR is great, right? But it's a computer thing, but there's still human error involved in it. And the referees continually, for me, get things wrong, and they're professional, and they've got VAR at their disposal, like I've said. And I just think if we bring in VAR and we make the refs professional, it'll still be the same as what it is down south, because they'll follow that model rather than like Europe. And it'll be the conspiracy theories will be even worse, because the video evidence will be there. The referee will have watched it, and if they do it the way they do down south, they'll still get it wrong, and people will be going after them nut. And I just think, just make refs professional if you want. That's fine, but just keep VAR away from your game, because it's like most things in Scotland. We'll not use it right, and it'll take away from the game, and I just can't see many good points there. As I say, there'll still be human error even with the video. So for me, just keep it the way it is. I was going to say free flowing football. We don't play that in Scotland all the time, but a game that's no stop start all the time.
But this is another thing, Ross, because you look at the way Celtic are playing at the minute, right? That's not going to play it, because we are playing free-flowing attacking football. And if you're bringing and implementing a system, it's going to benefit other teams if you're constantly putting the brakes on or taking the momentum out of what we're doing. And again, you made a good point about professional referees. Foreign referees aren't going to make a difference, because we're going to do the exact same thing England the day, and we're still going to make bad calls. But what worries me is, and very good point, by the way, about the Stoke momentum. I didn't even think of that. But the other good point you made, and I think it's a fantastic point, is the fact that or one thing, the main thing to remember really is that we're going to be putting this control in the hands of people who can't be trusted as it is, and that worries me because I'm 100% convinced. Listen, nothing's going to change in terms of decisions. If anything, they're going to use every opportunity to try and you can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever the fuck it is you want to call me, but
you're a conspiracy theorist.
it's going to play into, it's going to be used primarily against us, and I can see it happening. Some of the comments are absolutely class tonight, by the way. Thanks to everybody who's stuck with us and still watching. Let's see here. Would you want VAR if it was a winner-take-all game for the league and entry to Champions League and beating was the ref? Absolutely not.
No. No way.
So checking 20 penalty claims a game at Ibrox every week. I mean, listen, it's going to happen. Although, in saying that, if it's done right, then Rangers suffer as well because they're not getting all these shite calls that they're getting.
You made a great point there about it's stopping our flow the way we play as well, John. I agree with that. I mean, you look at Joe Hart. He's like a man possessed trying to get that ball back when it goes wide of the goal or that. It's actually funny to watch. He's like,
striking ball.
It's like, give me the ball. He's just like running like a maniac, just grabbing.
Apologise to the Bhoys after the game. It's like, and he's like, give me the ball, give me the ball.
It's rapid, man. He's like a man possessed. And again, that would take away from our game.
No, absolutely. What I would say is, imagine there's a foul in the box in a derby game, play on, opposition scores on the counter, they pull back for VAR, and that goal's chapped half. There will be murder. You can't.
Just talk about how mental VAR is at the weekend. I don't know if you can remember. It was Salah had a shot in the Liverpool game, and it nicked off. I don't know who the defender was, but taking a wee nick off a Man City defender. It was as clear a corner as you'll ever see, and the referee gave a by kick. And then before the by kick was taken, it got told to stop because there was a potential handball. And I'm like, I mean, it was never handball, but I'm like, what's that referee thinking right now? He's like, I've just said it wasn't a corner. It was a blatant corner, and now they're checking for a penalty. And he's like, he's probably sitting there going, I hope this hasn't touched his hand because I'm just wrong on 2 occasions. I've no gave a corner and it's a penalty.
I know. You're bang on.
And I'm like, well, how can they not get a corner for that? The game's not started again. Sure, they can go, I mean, you got that wrong, but it's a corner. It's mental.
Aye, it's ridiculous, and I don't want to dwell too much on it because no doubt we're going to discuss it in length come April 19th when the votes have been counted, and we'll have a lot more to say on it depending on the vote as well. But I just want to say if VAR does come in, something needs to be put through where the structure on how VAR is run is changed, because putting it in the hands of the referee on the park shouldn't be allowed. There should be a fucking 5th, 6th official or something on the sidelines with the telly in front of them who reviews the footage and then tells the referee, look, this is a decision before all this shit's done. None of this going to stop and look at tellies and all this other piss. Just have somebody there who can see it in real time, make a call, and then get on with the game, I think.
But then that sort of takes away the control of the game, that the referee has to be in control of the game. He has to be the man that makes the decision.
No.
I would rather the way you've just said.
No, the referees we've got, they don't.
No, but it's got to be the referee that's not in charge that week. It's got to be watching the telly. That you're got to be the guy watching the telly.
See the referee. So say there was a referee in Celtic St Johnstone for talking sake, right?
Right.
And he's the referee in that game, and then you didn't like him for whatever reason, and then he's the guy that's staying the monitor in the following game against Rangers. You want that guy being in the monitor then because you just think he's a dick the week before.
By the way, that still might happen.
I don't think that'll happen. I don't think they'll implement VAR in that way.
No, but there is still guys in a control room, and I think
there will be.
I think it'll just be how the data.
Anyway, I want to get off this subject at the minute because it's riling me up. But guys, listen. I mean, there's not really much else to say at the minute. We've discussed the game at length. We've went through all 7 goals. We've talked about the VAR introduction, the post-split fixtures. Next up, obviously, is the Cup semi-final on Sunday. We've got a big episode on Friday, as I said. All you guys, there's going to be Stephen, Ross, Francis, William, Anthony are all going to be available. So it should be a cracking episode. Make sure you tune in at 8 o'clock. Any of you want to add anything to this finally before we go?
No.
It sounded like you were trying to think of something funny there.
I was trying to think of something sarcastic, but mine went blank. Listen, good episode. Enjoyed it.
Correct, Martin. Correct.
Yeah.
Aye.
Everybody who's watching, if you haven't already done it yet, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or anything else, go check us out on YouTube and subscribe, even if you don't watch us, just so we get the numbers up. Thanks everybody for tuning in again. Great to see all you guys continue to stick with us, seeing a lot of regular names coming up now. And like I said, some of the chat and the comments have been fantastic. A good laugh. Ross, I was just going to say, do you want to say a wee bit of self promo before we go?
No, I've still got a paintbrush, John. Fuck him.
I've
got mine. I got a roller.
You got a roller, kid? There you go. See? I ain't got anything saying it, and John got one.
Honestly, Ross, do you want to say anything about
it? No, I just sort of said what's needed on Friday there. It's evident that it's a paint and decorating company. If you're looking for painting done, I'm your man.
So, if you've got a house that needs decorated, rooms that need decorated, there's your guy. You might be waiting a while, but he's fully booked. But that's your man.
Aye, but that's when you know they're good, when they're in demand and they're busy.
He's always a cunt.
There's Brian Warrior. He kens what he's talking about.
Need to cut that, Francis. That was bleeped. That was bleeped. But thanks again, everybody, and we'll catch you on Friday. Hail, hail.